my gosh, guys, I just came back from, I just watched it downstairs in my living room, but I just finished watching the Schneider cut. If you guys haven't seen my trailer reaction, I posted that. That'll be in the link in the description, but, there's a lot to talk about and to unfold in this review, but since it's a review, I'm gonna be giving it a score. I don't want this video to be too long. I'm gonna take the things that I thought were better, which is a lot of things, and the things that just didn't land. Overall, I think every part of this movie is completely better than Josh Whedon's. Just want to say that, but let's go ahead and get into the freaking review. So this movie already starts off so much better than Josh Whedon's. It picks up directly from the events of Batman vs Superman, and it's really emotional, right? Kal-El, or Superman, yells, and he gives out this scream, and this powerful, like, it shows that someone of his power has died, right? When something is that powerful, it's creating these seismic waves and these shock waves. It shows that true power. I love the symbolism in that scene, and I just think overall it starts much more connected already, and it leads us into the whole Aquaman and Batman kind of picking up these people. But before that, in the midst of this, these mother boxes are really keyed on. And that's one thing I have to say. Justice League, the original, just didn't really do well. They kind of gave it a backstory, but they never gave it its true power and defined what it can do and what it couldn't do. It was just boxes in the original. And after watching the Snyder cut, I know what these boxes are, right? They're powerful things that have not been awaken for thousands of years. These things that aren't meant to destroy, but meant to just create change. And this thing that holds, technology so far beyond our limits. We're limited. It's so far beyond us, and it was made thousands of years ago. That was the primitive technology used during that time. That's the time during these gods and the apocalypses were happening, and the like dark side was even in that flashback scene. All the gods were there. Yeah, man. But that's a huge part of the movie that I think Justice League very misstepped on, and I have my issues with that, but it paces very well. Like, believe it or not, this 4-hour movie paces extremely well. Now, I understand why it's 4 hours. These characters just couldn't be fleshed out, and the story itself, the plot, couldn't be fully fleshed out without this time. Now, the real runtime of the actual movie is around 3 hours and 50 minutes, but that's still 4 hours on my book. Do I think he could have cut a little bit? I do think he could have. That leads me to talk about the things that I really weren't a fan of in this film. Not much. So this is the first thing I'm going to talk about. One, there was this like really awkward singing scene after the meet with Aquaman and Batman, and I thought it was gonna go somewhere because it was so weird that I was like, oh, it's probably gonna do something, and it just ends, and you're like, what the heck? That was very awkward. It literally, the first thing I thought of when the scene ended was just try hard. Zack doing his little try hard things, which, give him his credit. But I do think that could have just been taken out of the movie. Don't know why that was in. Also, there are a lot of comedic and liners that are supposed to hit in this movie that just don't. Not to say Justice League did any better, but I think Josh Whedon has worked under that type of what can I say, environment, that very more human-like environment, comedic, and I think that's why his lines were more grounded. They still didn't hit at all, Zack's, it wasn't like Zack's was worse. It just didn't hit, just like Joss's didn't hit. So another thing I really disliked was Barry Allen's intro, man. They should have kept that police intro, or even that whole meeting with Batman, just start from there, or something else, because that intro with Iris is weird. It's like this love at first sight thing, but it's weird because you don't truly believe it. We've never seen this girl right? And she's like, she starts driving. He's over there to pick up or to get a job, and I really like the way he talks with the worker. But before that, leading up, he's like talking to himself and shit. It's very weird. And then I guess Iris like is driving. This guy's dropped his cheeseburger. He's like trying to get it while driving. And Iris is like looking at Barry like into his eyes while driving. It's such a dumb scene, and like she crashes. Barry saves her. I like the part where he saves her, but then like there's this fucking hot dog wiener like next to her, and he like it's like going near her face, and he like grabs it near her face, and I'm like, what are they gonna do here? And then he puts it in his pocket and saves it for the later scene with when he's with the dogs. But it was just weird. It was very off. It felt so out of place with the rest of the film. I liked the way he saved her, but honestly, it was caused by such stupidity. So I really didn't like that scene, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. But it was just a nitpick. That scene just didn't do it for me. I have some other stuff to talk about. Superman. He's done complete justice, and we don't have the CGI lips. But before we talk about all the good things, I have one more bad thing to say. The Wonder Woman music. I love the Wonder Woman music, but this like little theme that she gets in this particular movie every time she appears, it's very cool, very godlike, but it really starts to get annoying because it like is played in like every scene she comes up. Even if it's like a quick like 5-second scene, it'll be played for like 5 seconds, and it gets really irritating because there's points in the movie where you can tell like that did not need to be played like at all, like, and the scene would have been perfectly fine, and it was really off for me. Now let's get into the good things, which is like everything in this film and compared to the original Justice League. It obviously, I talked about the Batman and Aquaman situation, but it's just done completely better. It's just better, right? Diana and the way she kind of discovers this whole mother box thing, that's a huge part that I can't believe they just dissed in the original, because in the original, when you compare these two, in the original, they're meant to just make us believe that she knows this myth of these boxes and what happens with them, right? Like, we just think that she's a goddess, she knows, but like, no, like, this was the real way she found out. This was the way. It was in this kind of like Egyptian type building thing, and she sees all the history and all the markings of what has happened in the past, and we get that flashback with Zeus freaking, oh, it's so sick. Zeus freaking like shoots his laser and completely fucks up Darkseid, and we get to see some of the Lantern Corps people. We get to see all these realms and regions and people and species come together to fight this huge guy. I do have a problem with Darkseid being just defeated like that, but I guess he is fighting like a bunch of gods and shit, so I guess it does make sense. But yeah, Diana, like they literally like shoot the bow at her. That's when she goes in, or she shoots the bow. She finds the bow, and that's when she goes in, finds out all this history. Before that happens, obviously we get that fight between the Amazonians and Steppenwolf, man. I did watch the original Justice League right before this movie to kind of refreshen my mind to compare these, and the Zack Snyder one is so sick. It's so much better. Wonder Woman's such a badass. These Amazonians are way more badass, but Steppenwolf is such a badass. While watching this movie, I saw the mother box start moving as they're all guarding it, and me and my brother looked at each other and we're like, bro, is he actually gonna come? Like, oh my god, Steppenwolf's like actually gonna appear like right now, and he does appear, and he looks so good, and the action is just way better. And you get this cut in Joss's version of her like giving her the box, she's like, go. But no, so many things happen before that. Like, she's actually running away. She's going to her people. Even the fucking whole building collapses. Like, all that happens. Like, right before she gives her the box. And even the action towards this, or with the whole mother box, is sick. Steppenwolf comes out of the freaking ocean where the ground jumps like 500 feet in the air, comes down with his fucking hammer, oh my god, or his axe, I should say, and just destroys these fucking horses. Some of the fight scenes were kept in Joss's, but it just looks better in Zack's because Steppenwolf just looks better. His voice is done better, and his motive. Let's get Steppenwolf out of the way. He's just better. He went from like one of the most shoehorned villains in just like that to a really good character with really good motives. He just wants to prove Darkseid that he's worthy, especially after like disobeying Darkseid. That's his true motive, and it's really done well because he talks to like these people that are with Darkseid, and he really wants, you know, his trust, and they're like, nah, bro, you got ordered to kill like 5,000 fucking 50,000 worlds, bro. So you do that, then you can come back here. And it isn't sad, but it gives you something and gives you a reason to understand why Steppenwolf is doing this. And they end up doing the whole anti-life thing on Earth because they're the only people that are really fighting up against Steppenwolf and Darkseid. They were the only people, and I think that was really interesting. That leads me into something else, and that is fucking Cyborg. That's the only person we haven't talked about. Well, we haven't talked about Superman yet, but I just want to get Cyborg out the way. I want to make this review as quick as possible. Cyborg is done, oh my god, so well. I was getting kind of chills, like literally when the football scene came on. That really did it for me because it was like such a very lighthearted moment. He's like sitting there celebrating after he scored a touchdown. Like that was really good. And then he died, I guess him and his mom crash. His mom is instantly dead, and Cyborg's on his way to die. And that's when obviously we learn that he's made with the mother box, and that's why he's such a complex source of technology that cannot be controlled, because it's something so how can I say, like, unaccessible for us human beings. It's not like normal technology. This is something that was made thousands of years ago, and he's made up of that. And we get this really, really emotional scene. Like, for me, it really hit when he looks, it goes into his eye, and he's like looking at this. We're looking at all these people of struggle in the world, and we particularly look at this single mother who gets evicted. And it cuts to him kind of, giving her all this money, and also transitions into like this third person point of view of him looking at this woman. And like, like he just did that in a second. But for us, we got to see it all happen in minutes, right? For him, it happened in like a second. He transferred all that quick, right? But that whole scene was just in his head. And even though you could say that isn't really development, that all happened in his head. So realistically, that happened in seconds, and it just gave us more heart. It gave that character more meaning, and that character is a huge part of this movie, and even was a big part of the Joss movie, and it just didn't cut. And in this movie, he's a huge part, and it feels like a payoff. It literally feels like it was deserving. Now I want to talk about Superman very quickly because his time in this movie isn't much, but they do use the mother box to awaken him. And I love this scene where Barry Allen obviously touches it, and it makes just Superman like fucking just zoom out that shit. And then they start the whole fight versus the rest of the members. And I still love the scene where Henry Cavill is like looking at Barry as he's running. Barry's like, what? Like, that, like, I didn't know that was possible. And then later on, he finally Batman comes, and all these Justice League members get their one-on-one to stop him from accessing Batman, because they know he fucking hates Batman. They know he hates him. And I love that scene. He's just fucking wiping them away. And then finally gets to Batman. Lois Lane comes and saves the day. Lois Lane, brings out his true heart, makes him remember who he actually is on the inside. Now, as we move further in the film, I really don't like the time they spend together, because as much as I understand, Superman is finding out his love again, and he's rebuilding this relationship, and he's kind of spending time with the woman he loves, and it's kind of reoccurring in his life. I get that. It's good for Superman, but for Lois, she knows that something wrong is happening, and that the Justice League need this person, and she should know that. And it's kind of selfish on her part. She's like got him, and she's like, loving him, and they're going through like the cornfields together and going back to their house. I love that, but it's like, come on, it's crunch time. Like these boxes are about to come together, and I think he picked up the third one at this point. Yeah, he did. They're coming together. Like, if I was Lois, I would have been like, nah, bro, we can talk about this later. You need to go help them. Have quick convo of trust, and that would have led him to go into Justice League. But I don't mind the scene. I just didn't like it. I think it would have been cut shorter. I do think it would have been cool to see them kind of, kiss or something quick. But for them to just spend all this time, it kind of feels out of place, because there's this huge tempo, right? There's this like really fast tempo of things happening, and like we need to stop this mother box thing from happening, and then we get cut to this like really slow tempo of just her loving her husband. I get that, but it's just really selfish to me. But that's just a nitpick. We end up fast forward to the action, right? His dad ends up not fucking with the mother box, but overheating it. And this was explained earlier in the movie, and it's so well done, because this is his sacrifice. He ends up overheating the box. And this isn't to like destroy the box, because he can't, but it's to mark it, because they don't know where Steppenwolf is. But Cyborg can access that temperature, that rising temperature, and that heat source by the box. By the box having this heat, and that's what his father did. Right before he dies at the hands of Steppenwolf, he heats this box. That way the Justice League can find out a way to find where Steppenwolf has these boxes located. Fast forward, we also get the fight between Steppenwolf and the entire Justice League. Leading up to this fight, it was really awkward, because they were trying to do their whole team gathering moments, finishing each other's sentences. And although it doesn't feel faithful, I could take it, because, they are coming together. They have to find out a synchronized plan for this big ass villain that they need to stop in order to save the entire Earth. So I can understand why they're kind of, trying to piggyback off each other, coming up with a plan. But what I really don't like is, like, Cyborg's just okay all of a sudden, and he's just making plans all of a sudden. And yeah, Barry and Aquaman reference his death in this movie, and they're like, the guy just died, man. The guy's father just died. But it really doesn't feel that way. It's very transitioned quick, but I guess you got to crunch time when the movie's only 4 hours, LMAO. But yeah, I just felt that was weird. There's a lot of little things that take away from this movie's potential, but overall, like, the movie is great. Like, you have to take into consideration the Aquamans weren't out yet. Flash wasn't even confirmed for a movie. Batman didn't really get his own movie. It was shared on screen with Superman. The only people that really got their own movies was Superman and Wonder Woman. And for the rest of that team not to be fully developed, Zack did a damn great job. The final fight with Steppenwolf is amazing. They end up losing, and then Flash rewrites time with his speed, and he goes at like the speed of light and touches Cyborg again for Cyborg to separate these freaking boxes, and he kind of rewinds time with his speed. And it's so cool, because Flash was used as like kind of this weird character in the other Joss. He was used as this guy who never fought, which I respected, because that's something cool to see. It's this guy who's young, fast, but he's not a superhero. Like, he's never, he saves a couple criminals, but he's not at that threat. He's not, facing those Superman level threats. So although I did like that about Joss's version, I like the realism of that character, I much more respect the what should I say, the level that he has, and the kind of weight and the use that Barry Allen has in Zack's version. Much more respect that, and he does way more, shows off his powers way more. I love that. Also, side note, freaking Alfred is so much better in this. He's in way more scenes. He gets to talk to a lot of characters, even confused with a lot of characters. But overall, I love Alfred in this scene. He even, like, there's this scene where he's with Diana and he talks about tea, and it's so sick, because Diana's like, I've been alive for 5,000 years. You don't think I could talk about tea? Like, you don't think I know how to make tea? And Alfred's like, just do it this way. Trust me. Like, he gets his little butler shit on. You feel me? And Also, in that scene, I believe, yeah, that's the scene where Cyborg kind of meets up with them. I much prefer Joss's version of that, where Cyborg's kind of talking to them on the computer instead of like, come here. I much prefer Joss's version. It's more Cyborg like, but that's literally just a nitpick. Like I was saying, love the Steppenwolf fight, and right as Bearer winds the time and they separate these boxes, freaking Superman comes in, beats the shit out of Steppenwolf. Now, don't get me wrong, he comes in and really belittles the rest of the characters. Not even gonna lie. He comes in and makes the rest of the characters just look weak as shit. But that is Superman. He's just that fucking strong. He beats the living shit out of Steppenwolf, uses his laser vision, cuts off like half of Steppenwolf's head. Fucking, Aquaman fucking like spears this motherfucker, picks him up in the fucking air like he's a fucking kebab, throws this dude, and as he's going towards the portal that they see Darkseid in, which was also amazingly cool. Like, Darkseid's just sitting there watching them defeat the fucking man that was supposed to take over this anti-life Earth, this anti-life equation, this anti-life thing that he wants. The guy that was supposed to reclaim that, seeing him die right in front of his eyes, and right before he goes to that portal, Diane comes out of nowhere with her bad ass and chops the fucking head of Steppenwolf clean off, and it lands in front of Darkseid. And obviously it's so sick, it's almost like a threat, but Darkseid's not really threatened. He's more disappointed and steps on Steppenwolf's head, no pun intended, but just fucking crushes his head like, you fucking, like, you bitch, like, I knew you were gonna fail. And that's what Decide ends up saying. We end up on that, and we get that little cool scene that was in the trailer of Superman helping Batman up. We get this little Justice League shot. I love it, but it still does not feel earned. Not from Zack's point of view, but from the studio, from WB. Justice League never felt earned to me, right? We got a Man of Steel movie, a Batman vs Superman movie, and a Wonder Woman movie, and now we have the Justice League. The team and the culmination never really felt earned, but Zack really did his magic and made it feel like a culmination of these characters and trust. And although it's not like 100% there where you're like, yeah, these people are a team, you could definitely see that they had their tensions, but they knew that they had to come together in order to reach this conclusion and to save the world. We end on this epilogue, and I'm just gonna be honest, like, a lot of this epilogue was just pure fan service. Did not need to be in the film. I think the film would have, if it would have ended with the whole Justice League shit, with the whole Steppenwolf and the whole Justice League shot, I think that would have been beautiful. But we get this epilogue. It was clearly a reshoot. I don't know why Ben Affleck said he didn't reshoot. That was clearly a post-production recording. He is so skinny and more chisel. It is. He has the nightmare scene, obviously, with the Joker in there. And you got Deathstroke in there, and you got the Avengers, and they're like, he's coming, and it's fucking evil Superman. Love it. And then he fucking wakes up from his nightmare. And yeah, he steps out just to see Martian fucking Manhunter, man. In this movie, Martian Manhunter was in the movie earlier, but it was kind of like a quick cameo in here. He's full Martianed out, yo. He's fully Martianed out, talking to Bruce Wayne, dude. And and Bruce Wayne's like, yeah, we fucking need you. It was hilarious. Like, he was like, he comes in, he's like, he says something like something about being a part of the Justice League, and not Ben Affleck, but Bruce Wayne replies with like, yeah, we could use you. Like, it was hilarious to me and my brother. We found it so funny. Ben Affleck has some really quippy lines in this movie, and because of his like richness, and because he's like a rich guy, it kind of makes it so much more hilarious to us. But yeah, ends off on this little epilogue. We get Martian Manhunter. We get the Martian Manhunter, like the true Martian Manhunter. It looks pretty sick. And yeah, that's basically the way it freaking ends. This movie was like incredible. Tell me what you guys think. I personally loved this movie. It was so great. Now, we give ratings over here on the channel of percentages. Okay, that's what we do. We don't fuck with the damn 1 through 10s or the 1 through 5s. Those are rookie scores. The epilogue, I feel like, took away from my experience because it dragged. It really did drag it. and I felt like it was just there for pure fan service. But that's just a nitpick. Overall, this movie was amazing, and especially with the hand Zack got dealt, and to make this movie out of, you know, like two maybe three at most characters that were already explained, and to fit all these other characters' origins, even like Cyborg's parents' origins, Barry's parents' origins. Didn't really get to touch on that, but I love that as well. And just all these little things, including Steppenwolf, the whole dark side, everything was just further explained and gave more explanation and gave more depth and kind of weight to anything, any consequence that happened. It gave more weight, and that was the ultimate goal by Zack Snyder, obviously, and he completed that, man. And this movie, if I had to explain it in one word, it was just simply epic. It was epic. The action scenes were epic. The culminations were epic. Everything about this scene, about this movie, was epic. If we're gonna give it a score, I believe on Rotten Tomatoes it's like a 78. I don't know if it's a 78. I don't know if it should be that low. As a comic book film, this film is like really well, but we don't rate these films off of just comic book films because there are a handful of numbers. We rate these films off of films alone because I'm a film fan, I'm a comic book fan, put them together, man. So yeah, if I had to rate this film, I would give it an 81%. This film is not perfect, but it's very, very good. Like, it's a movie you definitely deserve. You should sit down and watch. But part of the percentages that take away the negatives are the very small things, the small scenes, the music, and overall the fact that this movie is 4 hours. I do understand why WB brought Joss in to really cut this movie. And I could see why. This movie is very long, and I could still tell Zack still cut some from here. He wanted a two-part kind of movie thing with a two-part Justice League, and you could tell he still had to shorten it still, and it was still 4 hours. So I could understand why WB had to cut it. Just what they did was really fucked up, especially with his daughter. Rest in peace. But yeah, guys, 81% for the Snyder cut. That is extremely good. Might even go up actually over, you know, time. Maybe I'll rewatch it and then maybe I'll give you guys an update. But right now, first time viewing, it's an 81. I give Joss's probably like a 23, maybe a 30. I'll be generous and give him a 30. This is just so much fucking better than Joss's. This is an 81 for me. Tell me what you guys would rate this on a scale of 1 to 100. And yeah, tell me what you guys think about the movie if you watched it. I hope you did, because I definitely gave some fucking spoilers in here, and the title would definitely be called Spoiler Review. But yeah, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll be doing a reaction to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 1 posted tomorrow. I'll try to get it up tomorrow morning. If I can't, it'll be uploaded in the PM very later. But I'll definitely try to get it up tomorrow morning. Yeah, guys, once again, tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, help out the channel a lot, and please subscribe for more content. It's been Barkeezy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.